What's going on? It's your main man back on the scene with another video, and get ready for another episode of Exploring Blaxploitation Movies. And this will be episode number 4. And we're gonna put some dip in your hip, some glide in your stride, and make sure you hit me with 5 on the black hand side. Can you dig it? And don't be no jive turkey and not hit that like button. So let's get to it. Last we left off with E. So we're gonna do F to K. And as always, some of these movies do not fit the criteria, like Harlem Nights is too new to be part of the Blaxploitation era. Let's get it cracking, guys. You don't want to long stroke it, so let's get into it. So first we have Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. And this is about 5 female athletes that are kidnapped during an international track meet in Hong Kong. So this does not meet the criteria for pimps, hustlers, and hoes. Remember, that's what we're looking for. That is the stereotype for these type of movies, is that they were all drug dealers and pimps, things of that nature. And again, while a lot of them are crime dramas, they're not about pimps and hookers and stuff. And that was the most popular genre at that time. So. And next we have the education of Sonny Carson. This is a guy that was in the gang. He changes his life after incarceration. Then when he returns to the real world, he's trying to fight corruption. So I don't think this fits the criteria for pimps, hustlers, and hoes, as the main protagonist is trying to fight corruption and not glorify corruption, which I don't think any of the movies actually did that. But let's continue. The next we have Fighting Mad, a.k.a. Death Force. It's a martial arts movie, and the guys were selling gold bars from during the Vietnam War, and what guys got portrayed, and he was found by a samurai and he was taught the ways, and he wanted to exact revenge against the people who did him dirty. So this does not fit the criteria for pimps, hustlers, and hoes. As we see with most of these movies, they don't fit that criteria. So it's just a stereotype. And sometimes stereotypes are wrong. The Final Comedown, 1972, is a shootout between a radical black nationalist and a shootout between a black nationalist group and the police. So this does not fit that criteria of pimps, hustlers, and hoes. And next we have 5 on the black hand side. And this is like a comedic take on the Black Power movement. And a lot of these movies back then had that theme, and understandably so, because of the time period. That was not too long after the deaths of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, Black Panther movement, Black Liberation Army, and you had that going on at that time. So I would expect movies to mimic that. But this does not fit the criteria for pimps, hustlers, and hoes. Next we have Fox Style. This is a man who, he was with a family. I guess he was adopted, and he had a white brother, and they struck it rich with oil in Texas, and he came back to his hometown, I guess, to help people out, and he has a run-in with racists. This does not fit the criteria for pimps, hustlers, and hoes. And we have Foxy Brown. She has an agent boyfriend who was killed, and she goes undercover as a hooker. So this kind of fits the criteria for pimps, hookers, and hoes. the main protagonist is portraying a hooker. So next we have Friday Foster. Friday Foster is about a plot to eliminate the country's African American political leadership. So this does not fit the criteria for pimps, hustlers, and hoes. Okay, next up we have Gang Wars. And another title of it is Devil's Express, which is what you see in the poster. And this is about a martial artist cop takes on street gangs and an evil demon that haunts the New York City subway. So this does not fit that criteria. The main character is a cop, a martial artist cop. So this does not fit that criteria. So let's go to the next one. Ganja Hess. This is a vampire movie. They were, I guess, messing around with or studying a African artifact from a blood drinking tribe. They become a vampire from playing around with this thing. Basically, that's basically, the easiest way I can chop it up instead of reading the whole synopsis. So it's a vampire movie. So this does not fit that criteria of pimp, hustlers, and hoes. So let's go to the next one. This is Georgia, Georgia. This is about an American singer in Sweden. And a couple of the characters are black, so I guess that's why they include in the list, which I don't really consider this to be a blaxploitation flick. It's interracial dating. It doesn't have anything. It's more about her career and stuff. So it's not really a street gang movie or pimps and stuff. So this does not fit that criteria. Next we have, depending on where it was, in the U.S. is released as G.I. Bro, which stars Fred Williamson. This is about a crack team in World War II. So this does not fit the criteria for pimp, hustlers, and hoes. So let's move along. Gordon's War. Gordon's War is about a Vietnam vet who takes on drug dealers. So the main character is not a pimp or a hustler or whatever. He's fighting against it. So there's a lot of movies about that. So again, I can see where the stereotype comes from. It's not accurate, so to speak. Let's keep moving. Grease Lightning. This stars Richard Pryor. This is about Wendell Scott. He was like the first black stock car driver. He won a race and they cheated him. And then later on, because I guess they didn't want him to kiss the trophy girl. So this does not fit the criteria for pimp, hustle, and hoes. It's not about. This is about a man trying to be a stock car racer. Let's keep it moving. I am the greatest. It's the Ali story. This is about the life of Muhammad Ali. So this does not fit the criteria for pimp, hustlers, and hoes. Let's keep it moving. The guy from Harlem, a private investigator working for the CIA. He was protecting the family, blah, blah, blah. So this has nothing to do with pimp, hustlers, and hoes. As you can see, there's very few movies that actually promote that, so to speak. Which, I don't think they actually promoted it. Because there was always a message in the story. And this one is Halls of Anger. It's about some white kids bust to a black school, and there's conflict. So has nothing to do with pimp, hustlers, and hoes. Hammer. This is a boxer who was helped by the mafia. Then they wanted him to throw a fight, and he doesn't want to do it, so there's conflict. So again, This is not about, I guess, sort of, kind of. But it's not really about him being a gangster. It's about him. You want to be a fighter. So I guess he cheated to try to get somewhere. So, I don't know. This one we'll mark it as so-so. Hangup. A policeman seeking revenge on the man who got his girlfriend addicted to heroin. So this is a simp movie. So it does have something to do with drugs, but it's not about being a dealer or anything like that. So it doesn't fit that criteria. No, drug addiction is real. So, but he was a simp because if his girlfriend is hanging around with some dude getting high, then she's probably plowing that dude. So I would have let that one slide. I wouldn't have went to war for that shit, man. She's a slut, man. So, anyways, let's move along. Hell Up in Harlem. So this is a sequel to Black Caesar. At the end of Black Caesar looked like he was dying, but he survived, and he's trying to eliminate drugs out of Harlem while he's keeping his other enterprises alive. So this sort of kind of, but he's not dealing drugs. He's still in the underworld. So I guess you could say it's still a hustler film. So this one does. I'm going to say this one does fit the criteria. A hero ain't nothing but a sandwich. It's about a young drug addict, racism. So this one, it's not a pusher. It's basically someone dealing with addiction. So this one does not fit that criteria. I mean, drugs is in there, but that was the main thing that they were talking about back in the day. It was heroin addiction. So I guess a lot of movies reflected that. Let's move along. Hit. This is kind of like an Ocean's 11 movie. So this one, and there is a revenge on drug dealers thing. So I would say no. This is not about street hustlers, pimps, and hoes and stuff. So let's keep it moving. Hitman. I saw this at the North Drive-In. And this one, it stars Bernie Casey, and he wants some revenge on some gangster because they killed his brother. So this does not fit the criteria. Pimp houses and hoes. It's a common thing. Revenge is a common thing. I see where the stereotype comes from, because it's a lot of crime drama, so it kind of fits that. But I'm going to say no. The Hitter. Ex-boxer hooks up with a hoodlum and ex-call girl. So, yeah, this one kind of fits that, because you got the hoe, you got the hoodlum. So I'm going to say this one does fit the criteria. Honey Baby, or a.k.a. 3 Days in Beirut. This is an espionage movie, so this does not fit the criteria of Pimp Hustles and Hoes. And the title, Honky. It's interracial dating, as you can see. I guess there's some violent I never saw this. I don't watch stuff like this. I'm not a love story man. Hot Potato. This is a Jim Kelly flick, and he's Basically, it's a sequel to Black Belt Jones, so it's a bunch of spy stuff, espionage, etc., etc. So this does not fit the criteria for pimp hustlers and hoes. Let's move along. It's Escape from Devil's Island. I think it had another name. Oh, How I Escaped from Devil's Island. I'm not sure how this ended up in H, but so this is about a group of prisoners plot their escape from a notorious fortress in French Guiana. This is, I think, like an early 1900s, so this does not fit that criteria. Pimp Hustlers and Hoes. JB's Revenge, another movie I saw at the Newark Drive-In. And this is a horror movie about possession. The guy that possessed, it's a college student, and he was possessed by some street hustler who wanted revenge on the people who did him dirty. So kind of, sort of. I'm going to say no, because it's not about that. It's just one of the characters, or a couple of characters, they were into that, and they became a preacher man. That was Louis Gossett Jr. It's one of his early flicks. So I'm going to say no on this one, because it's not about that. Next up, we have Jive Turkey, a.k.a. Baby Needs a New Pair of Shoes. This is about a numbers kingpin who tries to stay in business as the mafia and police close in on him. So this does fit that criteria of pimp, hustlers, and hoes. And last but not least, we have Johnny Tough. This is about a badass kid. I mean, that's all it is. It's about a badass kid. And as you see, he needs his hide whipped 10 times a day. So this does not fit the criteria of pimps, hustlers, and hoes. So we're going to wrap it up here, guys. So for the next edition, we're going to do L to S. There's a lot of movies that start with an S, so that's a pretty long list. So that's going to be the next edition. So we're going to wrap it up right here. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.